you guys are doing great there in the world, doing well. I wanted to share with the followers and the fans and the many historically interested this wonderful cabinet card that I received in the mail today through an auction. It's the stereo views that were made in the Victorian age that kind of were the early 3D, if you will, with the stereo viewer. Those were kind of mass produced, but many of them can be rare and highly sought after. And I've got a great collection of those. But the cabinet card is kind of another beast. These were printed at a higher level. There's a little bit of a sheen here you can see that's kind of what they call the albumin, style print. And my dog is of course wanting to act up. Um, but in the 1890s, there was a photo studio at Bull and Broughton Street, effectively in the city of Savannah. And there were many located there. But Lowney and Goebel were a group of photographers, and it's kind of interesting. I live on Goebel Avenue, and so this is the same Goebel. Um, but but in the 1890s, there was a New York reporter that visited the Johnson family, who were caretakers and sextons outside of Bonaventure Cemetery, which is what's in there in the background. You see the entrance pillar of two, the one there, and there's a bit of an iron gate if you kind of get close up that I believe are the same gates on the cemetery, although I associated them before this photo with being a little later. So I'm not entirely sure how to date the photo, except the age of the boy here does fit some other images that were taken around the same time. So I'm going to say later 1890s. But anyway, this is presumably Lafayette Johnson, who was the oldest of three boys. And of course, Bonaventure Cemetery, 3.5 miles from the city, was way out in the countryside still then. You could get there not quite by train yet. So you were either going, horseback carriage or by barge or boat. But in 1902, a railway stop for the Tibresa Railway going out to Tybee Island, Georgia, would have a depot there. But this is before that, I believe. And the reporter talked about how he had some nickels, or they had some nickels in their pocket, and they gave them to the boys, and they loved getting a little coin from the tourists, and kind of danced around, and were very entertaining. And you have to think that a lot of tourists were even coming by out of curiosity, because John Muir had written an essay that was rather famous about the cemetery in the 1850s, and Oscar Wilde had stayed there in the cemetery, and all that kind of intrigue. And it was still considered a city park, so lots of people came and went. And the Johnson family, who knows, may have uh, given directions for a little money, or sold, trinkets. I mean, it's hard to say really, but they lived at a cabin that was at the entrance of the cemetery, but it was on the Greenwich Road side, or to the left of, or the viewers left on a road that went to a plantation called Greenwich Plantation, and they may have worked in multiple capacities for both the cemetery and perhaps the Greenwich property owners at that time. But there's no doubt they did landscaping and um, uh, grave digging and all the stuff that went along with the work. And so this kind of Black Americana South stuff is highly sought after. And I would say that when it comes to Savannah in this vein, that the stuff around Bonaventure Cemetery is some of the rarest. So I was really excited to acquire a photo of presumably Lafayette Johnson. And what a sweet boy, what a sweet face. And down here, they used a tool to basically scry into the photo as they were developing it. So this was probably done, I would guess, on the original print that they used to make, multiples of. But it's hard to see because some of it has a little fade to it. But it says, "He's gay." So that old-fashioned kind of gay. He's very jubilant and happy in that sense. But yeah, it makes you wonder, where he went off into life, and that may very well be known. I don't know that honestly, and I hope to learn more about little Lafayette Johnson here. Who knows? Maybe he stayed in Savannah or went out west or to New York. I mean, it's really hard to say. But as we know more, we'll try to share that with you guys. But anyway, thanks for all the support and patronage, and just helping me grow the channel. We try to keep it classy and intelligent, and that's the internet's not wholly famous for that, but we're doing our best, and you guys are part of that. So thank you so much.